You ever meet someone who stays calm in situations that would absolutely wreck everyone else? Like, the room is on fire metaphorically, deadlines, drama, raised voices, and they're just standing there, sipping coffee, nodding slowly, almost detached. And you think, wow, they're so strong. But then you notice something else. They don't complain. They don't ask for help. They don't get excited easily either. It's like life already used up their emotional budget. Maybe you know someone like this. Because people who've gone through too much don't always look broken. Often, they look unusually composed, quiet, self-contained, almost unreadable. And that's where the psychology gets interesting. When someone has experienced too much stress, loss, responsibility, chaos, disappointment, their mind doesn't just move on. It adapts, quietly, strategically, in ways that change how they speak, connect, trust, and even feel joy. Let's talk about what that actually looks like. There's a type of person who doesn't react anymore. You tell them shocking news and they just say, "Yeah, I figured." Something goes wrong, and instead of panic, they shrug. At first glance, it looks like emotional maturity. But often, it's emotional exhaustion. These are people who learned, usually early, that reacting didn't help. Crying didn't fix it. Explaining didn't change it. Getting angry only made things worse. So their nervous system made a deal. Save energy. Stay flat. Expect nothing. Psychologically, this is called emotional blunting. Not because they don't feel, but because feeling everything all the time became too expensive. If this is you, you might notice that big highs don't really hit anymore. Success feels neutral. Compliments feel distant. You're not sad exactly, but you're not fully alive either. And the strange part? You probably tell yourself you're just being realistic. Then there's another type, the hyper-independent one. This person does everything alone. They don't delegate. They don't ask. They don't lean. Even when they're drowning, they say, "I've got it." They're the ones who'll Google their symptoms instead of seeing a doctor. Watch tutorials instead of asking a coworker. Stay silent instead of saying, "I'm not okay," because at some point, help wasn't available. Or worse, it came with strings attached. Judgment, guilt, control, disappointment. So their brain learned, depending on others is risky. Independence became armor. Strength became survival. The irony is, these people are often admired the most. They're called strong, resilient, low maintenance. But inside, there's a quiet belief that says, if I need something, I'll handle it myself, because no one's coming. And if you recognize yourself here, you might also struggle to receive care. When someone shows up for you, it feels uncomfortable, almost suspicious. Then there's the person who laughs at everything. Not because life is easy, but because humor became their pressure valve. They joke about trauma. They downplay pain with sarcasm. They're the one making everyone laugh, while quietly holding the heaviest stories. This isn't denial. It's regulation. Humor gives distance. It allows the mind to touch something painful without being consumed by it. Psychologically, it's a way to stay in control of the narrative. If you make it funny, it doesn't get to hurt you first. But here's the catch. When humor becomes the only language, serious emotions get stranded. These people often struggle to be taken seriously, or to let themselves be serious. And sometimes, late at night when the jokes stop working, everything rushes back in at once. Another pattern shows up in relationships. People who've gone through too much often keep others at arm's length, not because they don't want connection, but because closeness once meant danger. They might seem distant, slow to trust, quick to withdraw. They don't overshare. They don't rush intimacy. They observe before they engage. This is the brain's threat detection system doing its job. If past relationships came with instability, unpredictable moods, sudden loss, emotional volatility, the mind learns to scan constantly. Is this safe? Is this temporary? When does this go wrong? So they love carefully, quietly, with an exit plan. If you've ever been told you're hard to read or emotionally reserved, this might be why. And then there's the final type, the one people rarely notice. The person who's incredibly calm during crises, but falls apart during peace. When things slow down, their anxiety spikes. When life is quiet, their mind gets loud. Because chaos was familiar. Stress was normal. Calm feels suspicious. Psychologically, the nervous system becomes calibrated to high intensity. Without it, the body doesn't know what to do. So they stay busy. They create problems. They overthink. Not because they want drama, but because stillness feels unsafe. If this resonates, you might notice that rest makes you uneasy. That silence feels heavy. That you're always bracing for something. Now here's the part most people miss. None of these patterns mean someone is broken. They mean someone adapted. Every behavior we've talked about, emotional numbness, hyperindependence, humor, distance, restlessness, started as intelligence. The mind did what it had to do to survive environments that asked too much for too long. The problem isn't the adaptation. It's when survival strategies follow us into places where they're no longer needed. So let me ask you something. Which part felt uncomfortably familiar? The calm that feels empty? The strength that feels lonely? The jokes that hide too much? The distance? The inability to rest? Maybe it's one. Maybe it's all of them. If you've gone through too much, healing doesn't mean becoming someone new. It means gently teaching your nervous system that the danger has passed. And that takes time, patience, and often compassion you were never given. So if this video felt like it was quietly describing you, you're not alone. And you're not weak. You're someone who survived. And now, maybe you're learning how to live.